Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital, the Doctor of Digital podcast. Purpose of the show is to transform your business and life with education and inspiration. I introduce busy business leaders to trends in business, technology, and marketing to highlight people you should know. Are you tired of pouring time and money into social media marketing with little to show for it? In today's digital age, a strong social media presence is crucial for business success. But navigating the ever changing landscape can feel like trying to hit a moving target. What if there was a way to create a predictable marketing system that consistently generates leads and sales, even in industries that seem challenging to promote? My guest has cracked the code on social media marketing, and she's here to share her secrets with you. Meet Hannah Balliet, the dynamo behind Ugly Mug Marketing. In just 4 years, Hannah has led her team to an astounding 340% growth, spearheading over 4,000 social media campaigns. Her expertise isn't just theoretical. Hannah has worked hand in hand with hundreds of small business owners and entrepreneurs, helping them cut through the noise and achieve tangible results in the digital realm. From turning strangers into advocates for nonprofits to making unsexy industries shine on social media platforms, Hannah's strategies have proven effective across diverse sectors. Whether you're struggling to make your content resonate or looking to debunk common social media myths, Hannah's insights promise to revolutionize your approach to digital marketing. Get ready to discover the lead generation strategies your competitors hope you'd never learn. During this episode, we'll do a deep dive into the changes and hot topics of social media, its biggest challenges and growth. I will leverage the expertise of my guest and how to navigate the unique dynamics of the field. By the end of this episode, you'll be better equipped to know what to do, and I encourage you to contact my guest, Hannah Balliet, the Director of Communication and Teaching at Ugly Mug Marketing. With that, I want to welcome Hannah to the program. How are you doing today, Hannah?
I'm doing well, Mick. Thank you so much for having me today.
You bet. So I'm looking forward to talking to you, in this really dynamic and exciting field. So could you please tell me, how did you get into this whole game in the first place? What's your story?
Yeah, I actually started my career in the nonprofit space, was working on marketing in the nonprofit space, but also doing a lot of event coordination and working with community partners and helping grow a truly grassroots program for a wonderful organization in Grand Rapids, Michigan called Van Andel Institute.
Oh,
But during my time there, I was really loving leaning into the marketing side and knew that I wanted to continue to grow in that realm. And so I made my transition to Ugly Mug Marketing and essentially was serving as a social media manager at the time. I took over a handful of clients and helped grow and scale the department to the point where I needed to hire another person to
nice.
help me manage all of those private clients, which was a really wonderful thing. And I have been there now for 7 years, grew and scaled that department, have now just recently, over the past 12 months, passed that torch off to a new department manager for
Right.
the social media team, and am now serving as the director of communications and teaching. So, really working still with some private clients on their social media, but really leaning into this whole coaching and consulting side of the business for those folks who might not be in a space to hire someone yet to privately take over all of those marketing roles and responsibilities, right?
Right.
But more so coaching them and making sure that they have really good foundations so that they can grow and scale their social media presence and ultimately their business to be able to hire that work out to someone else or to add someone really valuable to their team.
Okay, I see. So you've been in this sector for a while. So I'm really curious because this is such a dynamic field. What kind of changes have you seen over the last several years in your experience?
Oh gosh, so many changes. I laugh because I just had Facebook pop up a memory of 10 years ago when I was actually in my senior year of college and I was addressing the incoming freshmen. They asked me to speak at the kind of freshman orientation. And And I was like, wow, I remember, being in college and being in a marketing class, and a professor at that time being like, you guys really need to, be leaning into digital marketing and like learning as much as you can about that, because that's really going to be the next big thing. And I remember not even having a social media class in college. So
Yeah.
stepping into my first role, I'm like, wow, I learned all that I did, even in the nonprofit space, just on the fly, like having to teach myself, blogging, or having to really lean into running like campaigns at the time, on their Facebook page to try and be really intentional about growing our following. The answer is it's changed drastically. And as someone who specifically spends a lot of time within the Meta suite of Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp and those tools, that platform in and of itself has changed dramatically over even the last 2 years that I want to really speak to. A couple of the changes that have really impacted the way
Yeah.
that we market and impact a lot of how people who might be marketing their companies for themselves, right? Those solopreneurs that are out there. A couple of changes that have come to that platform is some targeting, some very specific targeting capabilities that were once in place, especially for my friends who are in that nonprofit space. You used to be able to target people who care about specific causes or care about specific organizations. For
Mhm.
example, you could target people who like pages like Susan G. Komen and American Cancer Society, or who have interests in giving to those types of organizations.
Right.
That feature has since been removed. And so you have to get a little bit more creative about how you reach those specific folks who care about those causes or those types of organizations. Another really crucial tool for my
Right.
friends that are in home services in particular, they're wanting to target homeowners that live within certain areas, right? The ability to target people living in a particular zip code or within a particular radius has also been removed. We can now only target people who have recently been in a location. And that
Mm.
is particularly challenging because we have people that commute, right? Or we have
Right.
airports in major metropolitan areas. So you could be catching people that are flying through Chicago O'Hare, but live in San Diego, California, or that live in Philadelphia, right? That has become a challenge for those folks as well. More importantly, those folks in those industries who are trying to reach just a cold audience, right? To even just run a brand awareness campaign and to try and get in front of new faces. And so we have to be really creative when it comes to building out some custom audiences and ensuring
Okay.
that we're reaching the right people. Those are just two of the many changes. I haven't even leaned into the way that the platform itself looks when you log into Ads Manager. Buttons are in different places, or it just looks different, or they've cut down the way that we even view the different objectives that we might be running our ads for. So there have been a plethora of changes, but those two in particular are some of the bigger ones that I think have made an impact on the way that we market, even for our clients over the last couple of years.
Got it. So you have two major changes, but I'm also curious because this is such a dynamic field. What would you say, because this is controversial, there's people talking about it all the time, what are the hot topics in the area currently?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think this is on two extremes, right? I think one is TikTok. The evolution of it as a platform, ultimately from the early days of COVID, so 2019, 2020, and the evolution of that platform till now, I feel like is a very hot topic. But it's also a hot topic around privacy
Mm.
rights, and should it be allowed in the United States or not? I feel like there's been so much talk around that in and of itself. So I think that's one hot topic just in the marketing and digital marketing atmosphere today. But I think just privacy as a whole, too, has kind of been another one. People's ability to get retargeting campaigns, which has been another change on Meta platforms, but on all digital marketing platforms. The ability to tell if someone has come to your website or visited your page in the past. I would say those two are really at the forefront. Um, right now as potential controversial topics and things that people are talking about.
Are people more concerned about privacy, less concerned? Because that is sometimes that's an issue for some, and then for others, they don't seem to care.
Yeah. Gosh, I really believe it's so 50-50, right? And it's hard as a marketer because you want to respect the privacy of the user, right? But at the same time, that data can be really valuable in targeting the right people and really niching down to ensure that you're reaching the right audience. So I can certainly see both sides of the argument. Me as a user, I think when I get a pop up of, these cookies are on this page, can we track or whatever, uh, ultimately, like, I personally don't care. But I also am on that marketing side of things where I'm like, if that's going to help me get more targeted ads or help me see more of what I want to see when I'm on platforms like Pinterest, or once I've gone to a website and then I'm coming back to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or places like that, I ultimately don't really care. But I know there are people out there who deeply care about that and are concerned about their privacy and receiving ads after they've been, on a certain website. They don't really want to be tracked in that way. So, yeah.
Have you found that age related, that is, sometimes older people are more concerned about privacy because they haven't been around the digital age? Younger people are more open or don't care?
I certainly believe that is a factor. Um, yes, I do believe that to be true. And I think that if you look back over time, even not considering privacy in light of social media in particular, I think that that's always been, typically the older demographic or range has been concerned about their password getting leaked, or credit card information, things of that nature. So I would definitely kind of overlay that in this digital marketing space and say that yes, that is likely true.
I was just curious then, if there's no such thing as the average client or potential business that you're dealing with, but are there things that you generally would recommend given the hot topics and the change that have been taking place? Like, what should a business owner, president, CEO, small business start to think about currently?
Yes. I think that leads are an actual contact information for the people who are interacting with you on any of your digital marketing platforms is really important. Um, Especially in light of privacy and information transfer of information, right? We don't own our Facebook pages, we don't own our Instagram
Mm,
accounts, and at any given moment, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at any given moment, they could say, "Hey, you're actually violating, these privacy
mm,
policies," or "We believe you're misusing, information," or
sure.
your website is wrongfully collecting information, right? For any reason. And I want to stick around those just given our previous kind of conversation up until this point. But they could say for any reason that ultimately you're not complying, and they could take down any one of these platforms. And so then if your eggs are all in these baskets of
Mm,
TikTok or of Instagram or Facebook, and those are the only ways that you're communicating with your current customers or with your prospective customers. If those are gone tomorrow, what do you have? And so ultimately, I have helped a lot of solopreneurs, but also a lot of million to even billion-dollar corporations say, how do we build a strategy that ultimately helps us get information and get people off of these platforms and onto our email list or onto our text messaging list willingly, right? We're not just like wrongfully taking their information, but rightfully asking them to opt in so that we have another method of communication with them and can continue to nurture that relationship with them and ultimately convert them into a customer outside of social media, right? We
okay.
need to have a good marketing mix, and we need to have ways to communicate with them on social, but also at times via email or text message, but also maybe with some other traditional platforms as well. It might be a billboard, right? It might be an ad
Mm.
in a local newspaper. It could be radio advertising as well. We want to make sure we have a good mix to reach the right people, but ultimately. still collecting that information from social so that we can continue to nurture that relationship.
So to back up just a little bit, you would probably be trying to capture people from anywhere, cross channel, anything, billboards or what have you. But in order to get
Yeah.
them and that information with their permission on your own and under your own control.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that people see, and you kind of avoid the privacy issue because the person that you get an capture and suing them if they are having what you want. And just like you said, when they're actually getting the things that you want and showing you the products that you look, well, then it's a service for you. So that seems like a fair exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting those people onto the list, like they're not just going to willy-nilly opt in for something that they don't actually care about or aren't interested in, right? So we want to make sure that the way that we're crafting our messaging around that opt-in too, is being truthful in what they're going to receive when they opt in, but also that whatever it is that we're sharing with them or trying to entice them to opt in with, is something that they are truly interested in and something that could truly be of service to them. So we want to be really intentional about that messaging as well.
So you made some recommendations. I'm curious for a person listening, what sort of immediate tips can you give them? That is some takeaways and some actionable tips. What should I be doing right now, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So some ways that we can actually get those people, that are those website visitors, that we don't know their names. We might know where they're located, if we're looking at our Google analytics, but we don't have their names or their information. A really great way to try and capture that is by having some sort of opt-in form on your website. So
Mm,
whether that's to join your email list, some sort of incentive for them, maybe it's an exclusive offer that by opting in to your email list, they are then emailed that discount code or access to something specific or specific product or service within your business. It can
yep.
be in the form of a pop up or it can be its own landing page. Those can be really great ways to get someone's information so that, again, continue to nurture that relationship via email, maybe, or via text messages as well. Another way outside of that, maybe if you already have that in place on your website, might be to take it a step further and run a Facebook lead generation campaign. This is
Okay.
something that we have found very fruitful for a variety of businesses and have built a full strategy and 10-step process around. And I'll give you an example of someone who was really crushing it on Facebook. They had 13,000 followers. They were
Mm,
a cupcake and coffee shop located in Louisiana. And we were like, wow, look at all of these organic followers. Look, you guys have been in business for 10 years. This is amazing. You've cultivated this wonderful relationship with 13,000 people who are following and, in some way, shape, or form interacting with your content. But how big is your email list? And when we asked them that question, they said, oh, we have about 250 people on our email list. And we were
mm,
like, what? That crushed us, right? Because we knew that ultimately those 13,000 people that have liked and followed them over the course of the years of their business weren't on their email list, so weren't regularly getting updates. And
mm,
ultimately, that those people, they didn't own those people's information. They weren't cultivating that additional touch point with those people on
right.
their Facebook page. And so we created a Facebook lead generation campaign and we only targeted those 13,000 people who
Got
liked
it.
their page. And we said, hey, little cakes with big attitude fans. That's the name of the cupcake shop. We said, hey, little cakes with big attitude fans. We know that you're a fan of us and we would love to invite you to join our email list. When you join our email list, you're going to get a coupon for 10% off your next purchase when you come through the drive through or when you visit the shop. You're also going to get a free cupcake on your birthday. So enter your birthday information and we'll send you an email and text message for a free cupcake on your birthday. And then you're also going to get exclusive information about our weekly cupcake flavors and our monthly cupcake flavors and early access to Valentine's orders, which Valentine's Day is a huge, huge day for them. And so we wanted to give them that opportunity as well. And when we're presenting that offer to these people, we know that this is already a warm audience who already knows and likes them, maybe already even trusts them, and that they've already become a customer of Little Cakes with Big Attitude. And so we're being very strategic. We're not just placing that ad out to anyone and asking them to join the email list, because the reality is people might not know them, and they might not have not been to the store before, right? So we're being really intentional by targeting the people who already like the page. But we're also being really intentional by saying, hey, these are probably already existing customers, of this 13,000 list. Let's go ahead and assume that at least 30% of these people have already been in the shop one or more times, right? And so we wanted to get those folks onto the email list. And ultimately, that helped us grow their email list to multi thousands, right? And this ad in particular, this lead generation campaign, is something that we can run evergreen. It's an evergreen offer. It doesn't die, right? So as we have additional funds to be able to run this as an ad on Facebook and on Instagram, we can keep it going on and off. We could keep it all year long and put a couple $100 behind it every month as we see fit. It doesn't matter, right? We can do it as we see fit. And ultimately, it helps them, again, grow that email list, own that customer information. They now have that data. They have first and last names. They have email addresses. They have phone numbers. They have birthdays, right?
Yeah.
That they're all capturing. And then they can kind of study a little bit more behind that data and say, hey, is there a trend? Is our audience typically male or female? Or are they typically more interested in this product release over this one? What typically has a better open rate, right? We can start really diving into that data so that we can provide more niche or more specific content to the people who actually want to open. And we can kind of segment down even from there. That's getting a little bit into the weeds, but that can be another really great way to collect that
Sure.
customer information and ensure that you can continue building that relationship with them.
Well, you're giving some great actionable tips, which is like, okay, you should take some action. So now I'm curious if a person's listening, how do they get a hold of you? How do they reach you? What's your contact information?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can connect with me personally on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn at Hannah Balliet, but you can connect with me through Ugly Mug Marketing too. So find Ugly Mug Marketing on LinkedIn, on our website, uglymugmarketing.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook as well.
Awesome. Hannah, thank you very much. Very insightful, giving us really the hot topics, the changes, actionable tips. What more can a person ask for? But I appreciate your time. Thanks for spending some time today and taking some time out for your schedule. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much. If you want to keep these things coming, make sure that you like, subscribe, positively review, and share the Dr. Digital podcast with everyone you know. I want to thank the supporters of the program. That is the publishers of both Burning America and that is also On Track, Ian Hunter. So, those supporters, I appreciate all the things that they have done. If you want to know more about my background, please find me on Facebook. It's simple and it's easy. I help business leaders, CEOs, and entrepreneurs break through their obscurity with oral and written presentations, building credibility and authority. That is Mastering Presentation Secrets on Facebook. Until next time, this is the Dr. Digital signing off. Deus Volt.